everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, my name is Sarah, and in today's video I'm going to be teaching you how to crochet a sitting puppy. More specifically, this puppy. I will be making my puppy out of solid yellow though, kind of going for a golden retriever inspired dog, but this is a written pattern that you can find in my coffee shop and you can find the link in the description. The reason I bring that up though is because in the pattern I have a lot of different ear types and nose types. Here you can see I have 2 different nose types and I have 3 different ear types. Here is the other ear. So I have a droopy kind of ear, a folded ear, which is the one I'll be showing you in today's tutorial, and then you have a pointy ear. And in that pattern I also include color work for the husky, or in this case a German shepherd, and then I also have spotty color work, so spot around the eye and spots on the back. So if you're interested in the written pattern, you can check that out in the description. I'll just be showing you how to make this guy in solid color for today's tutorial. I do have a quick disclaimer before we get into the material list, but if you'd like, you can skip ahead. I have chapters at the bottom of the screen that you can skip forward if you need to. The quick disclaimer is that I crochet pretty quickly, so if you have a hard time following along, make sure that you slow the video down, pause it, replay it. If you have any questions about the pattern, please leave them in the comments below. I will try and answer them as quick as possible. That is it for the disclaimer. Let's get into the materials list. For materials, we're going to need some yarn. I'm going to be using this yellow yarn here out of Sweet Snuggles Light. With this yarn, I'll also be using a size 4 yarn, and I'm going to use this yarn for a couple things. 1, to start my magic ring, and then 2, I will be using it to sew certain things on if I need to, and I will be using it to face shape. You'll also need a secondary color for your nose. I just have this black size 4 yarn, but it doesn't have to be a smaller yarn type. It can be the same size as the yarn you're using for your primary color. I just want to use this black yarn. You also need a crochet hook to go with your yarn. I'm going to be using a 5mm hook, and you'll need a pair of scissors, and you'll need a needle or 2. I personally like to use 2. This long metal one for working with the skinny chenille, and then this one for working with the larger yarn. You'll need a pair of safety eyes if you're using them, or you can embroider your eyes, but I'm just going to be using a pair of 16mm eyes. And then the final thing you'll need is some stuffing. You'll need quite a bit for your puppy, but not too much. But I think that is it for the materials list, so let's go ahead and get into crocheting. I'm going to zoom the camera in a little bit and then we're going to get started. The first thing we do for this pattern is crochet the front legs. That is what we're going to start with now. I have my first leg already made. Here's what it looks like. Like I said in the beginning, I'm going to use my size 4 yarn to start my magic ring, but you can use the chain 2 method or any method you like to start your magic ring, just as long as you have 8 single crochets into your magic ring or your chain 2 method. And the way I make my size 4 yarn work, in case you haven't seen it yet, is I wrap my fingers with the yarn. I put my crochet hook through them and I hold it with my pointer finger, and then I take my other yarn and I chain 1. So I pull it through and then chain 1, and then you have your magic ring, and you can crochet your single crochets into that loop. Like I said, single crochet 8. Once you finish that round, we're going to single crochet in each stitch around for 3 rounds. After my first single crochet round, I'm going to secure my ends and then turn my work right side out and finish my single crochet rounds. Here are the single crochet rounds complete. I'm going to tuck my ends into the bottom of the paw. And And then for the next round, we're going to decrease. I'm going to use the invisible decrease, and then we're going to single crochet 2, and you'll repeat that twice total. And once you finish that decrease round, we're going to single crochet in each stitch. And for the next step, we are going to stuff our arm lightly. Now, if you did color changes on your arm, you might not need to stuff it, but obviously I kept it a solid color, so I'm just going to add some stuffing. And now for our final round, we're going to close up our arm. And the way we do this is by crocheting through both sides. So I'm going to insert my hook into the next stitch, and then through that previous stitch, and single crochet, and then single crochet in the next 2 stitches. And there we have our arm finished and closed up at the top. I'm gonna go ahead and chain 1 and fasten off. You don't need too long of an end, but we're gonna use this end later to secure the arms, which is an optional step. If you want to leave your arms loose, you can. I like to sew them down, but like I said, it's up to you if you want to keep them loose or not. Now that our arms are done, we're going to move on to the head and body portion. For the head, we're going to start with a magic ring or your chain 2 method, and we're gonna start with 6 single crochets. And I'm going to close up my magic ring, and for the next round we're going to increase 6 times. And here's that increase round finished. I'm gonna go ahead and secure my magic ring now, so I don't have to do it later. I just do this by pulling everything nice and tight and then tying it all together just to make sure it is nice and secure on the inside. Once I'm finished with that, we're gonna move on to our next round. And for the next round, we're going to increase and then single crochet. And you'll repeat that 6 times all the way around. And here's the end of that 3rd increase round or 2nd increase round. For the next round, we're going to increase and then single crochet 2, and we'll repeat that 6 times or all the way around. And here's the end of our increase rounds for the head. So now we're going to single crochet in each stitch around for 4 rounds. And here are our single crochet rounds finished, and for the next round we're going to decrease 12 times. Now we're not going to insert our eyes yet because we crochet the arms on as we work. You'll have to insert the eyes after that. If you're using a really small yarn, it might be a really tight squeeze, but I think it should work. And once you finish your 12 decreases, we're going to single crochet in each stitch around. Now for the next round, we're going to join our arms, but first we're going to increase 3 times, and then we will join our arms and increase 3 more times. How we join our arms is by taking an arm, we flip it upside down, that way the wrong side is facing up towards you and the right side is facing down towards the head. And we're going to crochet through both the arm and then the next stitch of the body. And you're going to do that for all 3 stitches of the first arm. And then you're going to immediately join the second arm in the exact same way. Make sure the right side is facing the body and the wrong side is up. Attach with 3 single crochets. And now we're going to increase 3 more times. And now is the point where we are going to add our safety eyes. Now keep your ends from your arms out of your body if you plan to pin them down. And I will also be reinforcing the arms a little bit either way, whether you pin them down or leave them the way they are. Either way, I recommend keeping the ends out of the body for now. We're going to be inserting our safety eyes between round 6 and 7. So you should have 2 single crochet rounds below your eyes, just right in the middle of your single crochet rounds. And you want to have 4 clear stitches apart. And you want to be centered with the arms. So here's our head finished. We can start stuffing now. I'm going to go ahead and give it a little bit of stuffing, and then I will finish it once we finish the body. And here's the head stuff. You can kind of play around and see what it'll look like when you sink the eyes in a little bit. But we'll obviously have the big nose, which is the one I'm going to show you how to do. And then the folded ears will also complete the look. Go ahead and continue crocheting until we're finished with the body, and then we'll stuff some more. So go ahead for the next round and single crochet in each stitch around. And once you finish your single crochet round, we are going to increase single crochet 2 and repeat that 6 times or all the way around. Once you finish those increased rounds, we're going to single crochet in each stitch around for 3 rounds. Here are the single crochet rounds complete, and for the next round we're going to decrease 12 times. Once you finish your decrease rounds, we're going to deal with the ends from our arms. So, like I said, you can just reinforce the arms, which I'll show you how to do first. And you don't have to pin them down. Like I said, like to pin them down. But first, I'm going to thread my needle for one of the arms, doesn't really matter which. And we're just going to clean up the edges, is really the goal here. So I'm going to take this loop here and kind of tuck it in. I'm going to go across to the other side and do the same thing over there. I find this just cleans up the rough edges a little bit from where we joined it. And then I like to take my yarn all the way down to the in between the last single crochet round and the decrease round. And what I like to do is just take this single crochet round of the arm, the first one, and attach it to the bottom of the body down here. And I like to keep the legs pretty close together. I want them to be touching. So I'm going to make sure that it is centered in the middle. And then I will repeat the same process with the other arm. So I'm going to go right on through to the wrong side, to the inside, and secure this end. And I like to do this by just creating some loops and sticking my yarn through it and pulling tight, and it'll create a knot. So I'm going to do this a few times. And then my arm is fairly secure now. And I'm going to repeat the process, like I said, with the other arm. So I'll make the corners look a lot nicer, and then I will tack them down. You can just make the corners look nice and then tuck the ends right in if you'd like to, of course. I'm going to tuck these ends in and stuff the body. We have one round left and that is 6 decreases, so you'll want to start stuffing the body now. Here's what we're looking like so far. We're almost done. At first we're going to decrease 6 times. About halfway through this round I'm going to add a little bit more stuffing. And once your decrease round is finished, go ahead and slip stitch, chain one, and fasten off. And we need enough yarn to close up our bottom hole, but not much else, so it doesn't need to be too crazy long. And here's what our body looks like. Now we're going to sew the bottom hole shut. I do this by collecting all the front loops of all 6 stitches, pulling it tight, and then I will secure the end and weave it in. Now our body is finished, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the back legs. Here I have one of them made. They're pretty small, so they work up quickly. What we're going to do is we're going to start with our magic ring or our chain 2 method, and we will start with 8 single crochets. Once you finish your 8 single crochets, go ahead and close up the magic ring. And we're going to single crochet in each stitch around for 3 rounds. And I'm going to do the same thing I did with my arm. And when I finish this first round, secure my magic ring and then turn it right side out. Once your single crochet rounds are complete, we're going to stuff the leg a little bit. Now, you might not be able to stuff it at all, which is totally fine, but I'm still going to put a little bit in there. For the next round, we're going to single crochet through both sides, just like we did with the arm. But for the second single crochet, we're actually going to decrease instead. Use the regular decrease and just do decrease through 2 stitches, and then finish with a single crochet, chain 1, fasten off, leaving a length of yarn for sewing. And here is our back leg, and you'll need to make 2 of these, of course, and then we're going to move on to the tail. We'll sew everything together at the end when we finish everything. For the tail, we're going to start with our magic ring or your chain 2 method, and you're going to start with 4 single crochets. Once you finish your 4 single crochets, close up your magic ring. And we're going to increase into the next stitch and then single crochet 3. I'm gonna do one more round before I secure my magic ring, so go ahead and increase, single crochet 4. Now I'm gonna go ahead and secure my magic ring, and then we'll turn our piece right side out and finish it off. For the next round, we're going to increase single crochet 5. Stuff your ends into your tail. And then we're going to single crochet across just like we did the arms and the legs, except this time we're going to skip our first single crochet and just single crochet 3 across. And here's what our tail looks like. Go ahead and chain 1 and fasten off, leaving a length of yarn for sewing. And now we are going to make our nose. Like I said in the beginning, I'm going to be doing the larger nose. We're going to start with a magic ring or your chain 2 method, and we're going to start with 6 single crochets. Go ahead and close up your magic ring, and for the next round we're going to increase 2 times and then single crochet, and we'll repeat that twice. I'm going to go ahead and secure my magic ring real quick. For the next round, we are going to single crochet 9, and then we will increase into that last stitch. Now we're going to slip stitch in the next stitch, chain 1 and fasten off, leaving a length of yarn for sewing. And here our snout is complete. Now you want to make sure that this bottom increase is on the bottom of your nose when you sew it on. Now we have to make the ears. Now for the ears, these ones are sewn on, but the pointy ears in the written pattern, those are crocheted on. It's up to you, whatever ear you'd like to do, if you want to surface crochet them or if you'd rather make them separately. But I'm going to be doing the folded ears, so they need to be sewed on separately. For the ear, we're going to start with a slip knot onto our hook. And then we are going to chain 5. Into the third chain from hook, we're going to double crochet. And then we are going to double crochet again. And then we will place 2 half double crochets into that last chain. Now go ahead and chain 2 and single crochet into that second chain from hook. And now we're going to work on the other side of the chain. So go ahead and half double crochet, increase, double crochet in the next chain, double crochet again. And then we are going to chain 2 and slip stitch into that same chain we just double crocheted into. Chain 1 and fasten off, and here we have our ear. Now we're going to leave a length of yarn for sewing. and go ahead and make 2 of these for your puppy. Here are both our ears complete, and we have to do a tiny bit of prep work before we sew them on. So here I've already done it. We're just going to take our smaller end and just bring it down to the bottom. That way we can weave it into the body a little bit easier later on. So I'm gonna go ahead and thread my needle and just bring this yarn down through the bottom of all these stitches. Doesn't need to be super secure at this point, just as long as it's hidden, because we will secure it and hide it into the body instead. And you can just go ahead and drop it and we'll deal with it later. But here are both the ears. This is the right side and this is the wrong side. This is where it will be folded on. You won't be able to see it, kind of like that. But the first thing we are going to sew on will be our back legs. We'll start there since it'll be the easiest. And go ahead and thread your needle with one of your back legs. We're going to place them about here on the body. So you want this, you can see this increase round right here. If you count, you can 3 increases, single crochet round, last increase round. We want our stitches sewed on here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that is where we will attach the leg. Hopefully that makes sense. And you want to make sure with your placement that they don't stick too far back. You want them to be kind of touching the front legs. At least that's how I like to place mine. Here are both the back legs sewn on. So now we're going to attach the tail. Go ahead and thread your needle with the tail end. We're just going to attach the tail between the decrease round and the single crochet round, and we're just gonna sew it on about centered with the front legs. You can see from the bottom here, it's easier to line up. And here the lower portion is fully finished, so we have the tail attached, the legs attached, and now we can move on to the head and just focus on that. It's also our last step, so that's exciting. I'm going to start by sewing the snout on, and then we will embroider the nose. But first we obviously have to attach the snout. We're just going to put the nose right on the face and attach it. Here's what we're looking like so far. I'm going to shape the face next, which is an optional step. You don't have to do it. I personally like the way it looks. I'm gonna take my size 4 yarn to do this, but you can use whatever yarn you use to make the plushie. We're gonna start at the back of the head and come out on the bottom of one eye. And just pull up a length of yarn. And I'm gonna come out right into the middle of the eye and across to the other eye. So here's what the loop looks like on the one side. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye and come back out into that same stitch where we put our first loop. Here we have 2 loops, and now we're going to do the same thing but on top of the eye. Here's the new loop again, and then this loop as well. And I'm going to come right back out to where our other yarn, our working end, is still attached. And now we're going to pull our ends tight. So what I'd first like to do is push the eyes in a little bit and then pull my ends. We're just going to pull everything until our loops disappear behind the eyes, like that. And now you can pull these as tight as you want, as loose as you want. I think that is good for what I'm looking for. As you can see, I have some fluffies I didn't realize were on my plushie. And then once you are satisfied, you can just tie these 2 ends together in the back and then weave them right in. And here's some face shaping finished. The next thing we're going to do is embroider our nose, and then we will attach the ears, and then we'll be done. For the nose, like I said, I'm going to use this size 4 yarn, but you can use the same size yarn as the yarn you used for your body. I just like embroidering with this yarn, so that's why I'm using it. We're going to start at the top of the forehead and just go ahead and come out in our nose area. So I like to embroider my nose on that second round. So I'm going to come out about center and pull a length of yarn out. And what I like to do is stack all of my loops on the bottom, so keep them in the same stitch, but then spread it out at the top. So I'm going to start on this side first, and I'm just going to add loop after loop after loop until this is as big as I want it to be, and then I will move over to that next stitch. Here's my nose. Now you can leave it like this, or you can add a little bit of a line, like this dog right here. Add a little line down the middle. And once you're finished, go ahead and take that end back up to your other end. That looks mostly centered to me. Now we're going to secure these ends to just some little knots, and then cut to your working end and weave the ends in. And there we are. We are on to our last step, which is attaching the ears. The way I like to do this is by threading my needle, of course. And we're going to sew with the wrong side facing the front because we're going to fold them down. So I like to begin by just attaching them. Let me show you my placement. So I'm going to put them right here. I want the top of the ear to be on that second round, between the second and third round. And we want it to just kind of line up nicely with the eyes because we do want to fold them down. So you want to make sure you have enough space for that. I'm going to start here and work my way up. I'm going to come back up a little bit so that I can secure the ear, but first I'm going to weave this end in, or at least move it a little bit. That way I don't have to worry about it later. So I'm just going to move this end over and away. And now I'm going to secure the curve, which you don't have to do. You can leave them loose, but I like to secure the flop. That way it stays the same. And I'm just going to come out on the other side of the ear. Pull it nice and tight. And there we have our folded ear. And you can fold it any way you want. You can fold it lower, or like I said, you can leave it loose. It just kind of depends on the look you're going for. I think this looks just fine, so we'll leave it like that. here is my golden retriever finished, or at least golden retriever inspired. I'm not sure how accurate it is. I am a cat person, not a dog person, but I tried my best to get this to look like a golden retriever. I feel like this one looks like a Rottweiler pretty well. And this one was going for a German Shepherd, but somebody said that because it has eyebrows, it kind of looks like a husky. I looked it up though, and German Shepherds do sometimes have eyebrows, so hopefully Google didn't lie to me. Thank you all so much for crocheting along with me. If you did, or if you simply watched through this video, thank you for watching it. I appreciate it so much, and let me know in the comments below what puppy you made, what colors you chose, and all that amazing fun stuff. I love to hear about it. You all are so creative. I just love to hear the colors and the different yarns you use. Make sure to check out the written pattern if you're interested in it. It includes a bunch of different dog types. Hopefully this looks like a poodle. Not sure if it does, but I don't know. I think this guy's pretty cute though. I'm going to stop talking now because I have a bad habit of continuing to talk even though I should just end the video. That is it for now. I hope to see you in my next video, and yeah, I'll see you then. Bye.